All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Hey, sorry we've been off for a while, but we've got some actually very exciting news and breaking news for Inclusion Pro Wrestling. That's right. We're back. The end of the month, the 24th, up at Rose Valley Friends Church in Rose Valley, Kelso, Washington. Hey, we've got a debuting star coming to join us too. But before we talk about our show, we want to give love to our sister promotion, CPW. They're having a show at Club Hectic this weekend, Saturday, in Linwood, Washington. And man, their card is stacked. And I mean, I tell you what, we thought our card was stacked. No. They've got a stacked card as well. And I'm going to invite in our esteemed panel here shortly and let them start talking about it. So without further ado, Crippled Messiah, you look as ugly as ever.
Thank you. I try.
And he might have a little cough, ladies and gentlemen, but there's a reason behind that. And we'll get into that much later on. And of course, the returning Principal Tap. You know, the sexier of the two of the hosts.
Please,
You know,
I finally figured out on our break what he looks like. He looks like the ghetto version of Hey Arnold from the Nickelodeon cartoon.
But, you know, moving forward, you know, and of course, you know, the Messiah always likes to have the last word, but, you know, you seem to know CPW better than the rest of us. So why don't you get on with the CPW love, Mr. Messiah?
Well, let's go with their tag team champions, which is the Filthy White Boys, which was a surprising move last show where TKO Cody Smith turned on his original partner, Christopher Ryzik, and joined up with G4. And they'll be taking on a brand new tag team, which will be Moral Panic. I'm not quite sure what they're panicking about, but we'll see. Then they have a triple threat match, which is the Good Son, Andrew Michelson, Tomcat Jones, and Mr. SP8, who I guess was training in the snow. Wonder if he got permission from the Mannequin Head to do that yet, but...
Well, you know, before you touch on that, you know, I'm glad you brought us up SP8. Man, SP8, you are a graffiti artist. You took my beautiful flyer that my wife and my daughter did, and you spray painted it and posted it up on your page, graffitied. Shame on you, sir. Moving forward. Go ahead, Mr. Noss.
No. Let me respond to that. Come on. Anybody that lived it during the WCW days saw the NWO. Maybe SP8 was just another one of those guys. So, now let's talk about another match, which is kind of interesting in the fact that we don't know who the opponent is, which is Rashad Tyson, who apparently has been running his mouth like crazy against the mystery opponent. And believe me, with Miss Yvonne Seymour calling the shots, you don't know who that's going to be.
I know one thing. I know she knows who it is.
Well, I would hope so. Then we have a very interesting match to me, which is J-Mo, who I think is going through an identity crisis. But that could have something to do with Mr. John Davidson, who I don't quite know what to think of him. He looks like a over-the-hill biker, but we'll see how that goes. Against the Rockabilly Rebel, Lance Dean, the man who's made the scene, and Miss Sunny Days. And that is going to be very, very interesting. Also, we have Mr. JB Moonshine versus the Party Goblin. And from what I understand, that man can throw one hell of a party. And maybe you guys can elaborate on this a little bit more so I don't do all the talking. Wasn't there some controversy about Mr. Goblin not wanting to give Mr. Moonshine a title shot?
Well, Party Goblin doesn't think JB deserves it since he abandoned his family for 6 months and just did his own thing. So, Mr. JB Moonshine, shame on you. I mean, I thought you were a family man and you didn't leave your family hanging. I mean, look at what happened to poor old JMO. You weren't there, and JMO went with John Davidson, and I mean, wow. That's all I can say about that is wow.
So, I mean, here's my thing. I don't know if it's so much the fact that JB Moonshine didn't show up. You don't know what's in that moonshine jug. He could have been like in a completely different world for those 5 shows. Who knows? Then we have Christopher Ryzik, who I'm sure is stinging after the last show, like I brought up before, after losing his tag team partner and basically having his tag titles stolen. Because they never really won them. They just got appointed the champions, which I'm sure, knowing Ryzik the way that I do, he's gonna find a partner that'll rectify that against Rex Rothschild. Don't know much about Rex, but it's kind of a cool name.
And then your final match on their card is CJ Edwards versus Luis. Go ahead, Mr. Messiah, and quickly go over that match.
Okay, fine. Luis has a lot of momentum, but he's been talking a lot of crap to everybody in CPW, and CJ's a human video game that moves faster than any commentator could call. So, Luis, I hope you got your cardio in, because you're going to need it.
So again, join them this Saturday, Club Hectic in Linwood. Tickets are still on sale. Now, why do we bring up CPW every time before our show? It's because CPW and Inclusion Pro Wrestling share a lot of talent and and all that good stuff. So we want to thank you and have a great show this weekend, you guys. Knock it out of the park. And then let's talk about February 24th. Inclusion Pro Wrestling is back. We have 8 matches for you. Actually 9 because we just added a dark match. That's right. So there are now 9 matches on our card. And 4 of those matches are championship matches. Our 2 champions that you guys know, and we're going to debut 2 new champions at that show. And I just want to get right down into it, Messiah. I'm going to deal with you in a minute. Let's start with this. Actually, you know what? Let's just get right into it. Messiah, the challenger for the Calais County title, seemed to call you out.
Yes, he did.
But I think you're too chicken shit and too pussy to answer his challenge, you chicken shit bastard.
All right, let me tell you this. I've lived in Calais County all my life. One thing he said is he is Calais County. I've been in this community. I ain't seen that skinny white boy anywhere. So where you been at if you're part of Calais County, first of all? Second of all, right, you think that you deserve this because of Lance Bean? Let me tell you this. If you compared you and Lance Bean, is how you actually say his name. It'd be like comparing a Ferrari to a tricycle. So, and you said you were going to whoop my ass, Mr. Man? Let me tell you this. I'll be calling your match at commentary. So if you think you can try something, I dare you to try it.
I hope there's going to be a medic in the house because I for one want to see Mr. JD Grunge slap the taste right out of Messiah's mouth. Maybe that'll teach him for talking badly about our talent.
The only grudge that man has.
In fact, sir, maybe I should fine you and suspend you for talking badly about our talent.
The only grudge that man has is in his hair because he hasn't watched it since 1978.
You better watch it, sir. It's a $500 fine from now on whenever you start talking badly about Mr. JD Grunge.
Well, you better start racking up the money.
So is that all you have to say about JD?
For now.
And let me guess. You're probably going to say JD Grunge couldn't even beat Lansdeen.
No, he can't. Like I said, it's like a Ferrari against a tricycle. And a broken tricycle that can only go to the left.
Oh, so now you're comparing him to NASCAR?
No. I would never discredit NASCAR unless... You know what? Yeah, he's NASCAR, a Muppet version, where like Miss Piggy would kind of go around the corner chasing Kermit. Maybe that's the title he could go after. He could go after the Muppet title, but then he'd have to go fight Jim Henson, and he's dead, so I doubt you could do that.
Well, the only match that we have not announced on our card yet was and this is going to be fun to announce because we were talking about CPW, but now I can finally announce this, ladies and gentlemen, that Yvonne Sieber Pick Your Poison match has just been revealed. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is a 2 out of 3 falls count anywhere match. So the winner has got to win 2 matches in a falls count anywhere. This thing can go outside. This thing can go to the concession stands. And it looks like Mr. JD Grunge has just made an appearance in the chat. So, Mr. Nathan, you can't take your shit no more. Keep talking. You want to keep it up?
I'll talk as much as I want. In fact, you said you're in California. I'm right here at the frontier. We could do this before the show if you want to.
Dude, he's not in California. He lives in Cowlitz County. Come on, dude.
County.
Come on, dude. Get your facts right. You can't even insult the poor man correctly.
You say you're in Cowlitz County. You should know where the frontier is.
I just hope he finds you and chokes the ever living shit out of you. Better yet, Mr. JD, do my light work for me and just shut the man up permanently. Why don't you? What room? Mr. JD Grunge? He is in 112.
That's right. All day, every day.
All right.
So one more thing before you go on, and I swear then I'll let it go. You said I could talk smack if I'm special. It's not. You called me special. We should be calling your wrestling style special. The only place you could probably wrestle is if they started a wrestling competition at the Special Olympics.
Okay, so let's just talk about the Cowlitz County Championship since Mr. Messiah won't shut up about Mr. JD Grunge. It'll be Mr. JD Grunge challenging Mr. Lance Dean for the Cowlitz County Championship. And it should be a really good match. And hopefully Messiah will keep his mouth shut during that match. Or I'm hoping JD Grunge actually gets out of the ring, slaps the taste out of his mouth, and goes back and finishes Lance off.
Yeah, it feel like a fly. I've gone outside and felt the wind hit me harder than JD could hit me across the face.
But let's let's move on. Let's talk about our newly added dark match against two men that I haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet. One guy is the Clown Prince. He calls himself PJ Freak. And I hear he's a really, really, really good talent. And the other guy just simply goes by the name Meat. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you heard me correctly. The guy goes by the name Meat.
Please tell me he's not billed for the produce section.
Moving on, our first match is a tag team match. And it's Mr. Cyrus Wilson and Chef, but I call him Chef Boyardee. And their opponents is again a first timer to Inclusion Pro Wrestling. Both of their opponents are first timers to Inclusion Pro Wrestling. Mr. Charlie Bravo and Mr. Randy Zellers. Welcome to Inclusion, guys. Hope you guys have a great match.
I also think that Mr. Zellers goes by Taekwon Bro, by the way, for anybody that's wondering.
Yes, I think so. Match 2. And another match that Mr. JD Grunge should be listening to is for the Evergreen Championship. That's right. We have the Cowlitz County and now we have the Evergreen. So now we've got Cowlitz County and the state of Washington covered in 2 titles. But good son, Andrew Michelson, is going to try to be a double champion. That's right. He is the current CPW family champion and will be trying for the brand new Evergreen Championship in Inclusion Pro Wrestling. So, best of luck to... Oh, and his opponent, of course, is Brian Nemar.
Andrew's one hell of a competitor. Don't know much about Brian Nemar. Seen a few things of what he looks like. Should be a great match. But I would have to give the edge to possibly Andrew on that one. I would say that Mr. JD Grunge could go for that one, but it is an Evergreen Championship, which means the Forest and he would get lost. So,
all right, will you please leave Mr. JD alone? I mean, the man's already going to knock you senseless.
Like I said, he can try. How can you knock somebody senseless if you have no sense yourself? But don't worry, sir. I can bring 50 cents.
Moving on, Messiah. This is not about Messiah. Moving on. Match 3. We're billing it the Ultimate Grudge match. That's right. The Ultimate Grudge match. And no, JD Grunge is not going to be involved in this grudge match. This is Andrew Michelson's confused brother, Tomcat Jones, versus the man that talks to a mannequin head. And no, I'm not talking Al Snow. I'm talking about the graffiti artist himself, SP8. Thoughts on that one, Messiah? No? Okay, good. Moving on.
Well, the thing is...
Match 4. Go ahead.
The thing is, as Miss Yvonne Sieber said during her live stream earlier, we hope that Mr. SP8 can get there if he's not a popsicle after he trained in the snow today.
Okay, well, moving on to match 4. Okay, moving on to match 4 is JMO. That's right, the disowned moonshiner, JMO. How are you going to do without your manager being there, Mr. JMO? When you take on, again, pulling double duty, and we really appreciate it, the man they call Meat. And please, Messiah, please don't say you have a comment about this match, and let's just move on.
Okay, I'll let you move on that one.
Thank you. And again, like we said, the 5th match on the card. Again, the 5th match on the card is for the Cowlitz County Championship. And that is Mr. JD Grunge again going against the champion Lance Dean. We're going to move on to that, and I'm trying not to look at the screen because after that, we're going to have a 15-minute intermission, ladies and gentlemen. 15-minute intermission. And when we come back from intermission, hopefully by then something happens and we don't have to listen to Messiah on commentary all night. So hopefully when we get back to match 6, it'll be Principal Tap, a mystery commentator, and our new commentator who we will talk about here in a little bit. But that match is for the United States Championship. And that match is against the formerly mentioned Grappler 4. And his opponent is Mr. Kylan Rowan, who is an All-American American. Sorry, I had to steal that line. An Army of One, a proud veteran, and true Mr. USA. So again, best of luck in that match to everybody. Match 7 is, again, a match that we've already brought up. It's the 2 out of 3 falls with special guest referee Von Sieber. And that match has CJ Edwards, as the Messiah said, was probably the fastest man in wrestling, versus another person making their Inclusion Wrestling debut in Princess Deathwish. Now, for those of you that haven't met Deathwish, you're in for a treat. And that brings us to our main event of the evening.
Yeah, the main event of the evening
is for the Inclusion Pro Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. Is Miss Sunny Days versus a mystery opponent. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we know who the opponent is, but you guys will have to come to the show to find out who that opponent is, to where she'll make her first title defense of the show. And of course, that is our card, but moving on. So we're also going to present Miss Sunny Days with her brand new heavyweight championship. Beautiful title. It's just been hanging out over here at my house until the rightful owner gets to claim it. So Miss Sunny Days, on the 24th, your title will be yours. And again, the Evergreen Championship is also in my possession for the winner of that match. So, with that being said, there will be some changes coming. The ring. So ring crew, anybody that wants to be involved in putting up the ring, please be to the Rain Church no later than 11 a.m. The ring is scheduled to be in town, ready to be unloaded by 10:30. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, we promise you at 10:30. We will have the ring set up before our fans walk in the doors this time. And that brings us to the end of the night. As it was stated in a previous live video, there's going to be some things done pay-wise as well. Ladies and gentlemen, there were only a few people that stayed after to put the ring away and take it down for the evening. So I am also going to implement a no pay clause until the ring is taken down, unless agreed upon by management or bookers. So if you guys want to get out of there to halfway decent hour, please come and help us take down the ring. As far as talent, if you are coming from up north or within a couple hours away, call time will be, I don't know, you're the booker, you decide. Call time will be
if you're coming from like at least like 3 hours away, call time should be probably around, I don't know, like 1 o'clock. If you live in town, meaning Cowlitz County or the Longview Kelso area, call time should probably be 11:30.
All right. So with that being said, that's our card. That's our matches.
Can I say one more thing?
You've been saying a lot. Hopefully you don't insult Mr. JD Grunge again, because I'm sure he's still on this podcast listening.
Well, here's what I want to say. He keeps saying that we're not going to give him enough time to celebrate his victory. There's one thing I want to ask the viewers out there to bring if you're coming to the show. Could you please bring Mr. JD Grunge some tissues? Because you ain't going to be celebrating anything. You're going to be sitting in a corner crying like a little girl, and you're going to need like those tissues like you're watching a romantic comedy, and like, you know, with the little popcorn and the little candy or anything. So please, if you're out there, bring him some tissues, and the kind of, you know, the little silky kind.
So I do think I have some security watching this podcast. Security, please. If JD Grunge goes towards the Messiah, please don't stop him and let them beat the shit out of Messiah, because he's been talking so much smack on these podcasts the last years, and everybody's been afraid to shut him up. So please, security, do not stop it.
Well, if you want to shut me up, you're going to need somebody tougher than JD Grunge. I can break him with one hand.
Please, I've seen your hands.
Hey, don't be knocking on cripple strength.
Oh, JD, you don't have to worry. You don't have to feel bad. Apparently, this is something that the little Messiahs wanted for the past 20 years. Nobody let me get involved in wrestling because I'm in a wheelchair. Oh, poor little me. It took me 20 years to buy a ring so I could get my own promotion, so I can get my ass kicked. Oh, poor me.
And unfortunately, I'm still going to be waiting in 20 years if you get these little no-names like JD Grunge that think he's Cowlitz County. If anybody in this podcast or in this promotion's Cowlitz County, you're looking at him.
Messiah, dude, quit reporting JD. It's not going to help anything. I'm still going to let the man in the door. You forget, I'm half owner.
Let him in the door. I ain't scared.
You should be.
I'd be more scared. Please, I've had surgery over at 90% of my body. I'd be more scared of the wind coming out of my ass than I'm scared of JD Grudge.
Yeah, well, how about this? Are you willing to put your ownership on the line?
Yeah, because he ain't going to hurt me.
He beats the fuck out of you. He gets your ownership shares.
Bring it. He ain't going to hurt me.
If you miss more than one match commentating, he gets your ownership shares.
All right, because I ain't going to lose nothing. The man's not even going to beat Lance Dean. Why am I going to be scared he's going to beat up me?
Okay, I'll have a new business partner by the end of the night, guys. I may have 2 new business partners by the end of the night. Yes, JD.
It is streaming.
So that's right there, Mr. Messiah. Not only is he going to beat you up, you're going to be crying to your mama, oh, boo-hoo-hoo-hoo, he took away my promotion from me. Mommy, go beat him up for me to get my shares back. Oh, boo-hoo. Poor little freaking crybaby Messiah. You have a response to that, Messiah?
To what? What you said or what he said?
To anything.
Well, first of all, you're a horrible crier.
I don't have to sell it. You do. But I'll tell you what, I know who's still going to have 50% of the company after the night, and it ain't going to be you.
See, hold on. He just said he wants the world to cancel him because after he beats my ass. The only way they're going to cancel you is if they see how badly you try to beat my ass and you miss slapping me because you can't figure out where your hand meets my face.
You know, Messiah, I can only think of one thing and one thing only. I look back at AEW about a week ago when Sting and Darby Allin won those titles, and then the EVPs came and beat the shit out of them, and we ain't seen Sting since. That's what's going to happen when JD comes and beats your ass. It's okay, JD. I'm sure when you're up close, you'll find it. It's trust me, he'll make it easy for you because it's the thing under his mouth when it's talking. All you got to do is just grab and squeeze underneath.
Like I said, I am not scared. I am Cowlitz County, and this man is not going to do a damn thing to me. The only thing he's going to be doing is crying at the end of the show because 2 things are going to happen. He's going to look like a fool because he ain't going to be able to hit a person that's just sitting there, and he's going to lose to Lance Dean.
Well, you're just lucky, JD, that he's actually wearing a gown tonight because there are some shows he gives you freaking nipple porn. That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, but I didn't want to give JD that much of a thrill tonight. You know, he kind of lives in apparently he lives in Cowlitz County, but I don't know what other things he's into, so I didn't want to give him too much of a thrill otherwise. I don't know, Tap. You've been quiet this whole time. Where do you sit on this thing?
I do not rip on talent, so I'm saying neutral.
Chicken shit.
I'm proud of it.
Wrong side of the tracks, huh? Well, that explains a lot.
Well, talk is cheap there, Messiah. We'll find out on the 24th just who is my new co-owner of Inclusion. If it's the crippled Messiah or if it's Mr. True Cowlitz County, JD Grunge.
But you guys shouldn't feel too bad for Mr. Grunge because he'll still have a job after he loses to Mr. Lance Dean, and after he can't hit a stand-alone person. You know those people that stand outside of Winco with the signs that says we'll do anything for food? I'm pretty sure Mr. JD Grunge will be standing at the end of Winco that say we'll wrestle for food.
Well, I don't think I'm going to have to worry about JD having to ever not have a job in Inclusion because at the end of the night on the 24th, Mr. JD Grunge is going to be calling himself co-owner of Inclusion Pro Wrestling. Because the Messiah again is biting the hand that's feeding him and has bitten off way too much more than he can chew.
You know what? I'll take that bet, Mr. JD Grunge. Next show, I'll pick my guy, you pick your guy, then we'll figure out who the owner is.
No, dumbass. He said you pick your guy against him. He doesn't have to pick a guy. His guy is him. Read the message.
Well, then if it's my guy against him,
and you call yourself Cowlitz County, at least we can read in Cowlitz County, unlike you.
If it's my guy, then I ain't gonna lose this time, and I damn sure ain't gonna lose next time if I can pick the opponent.
Well, I want to try to put this back on the tracks. My co-owner has went a little off the rails tonight. I guess he's just excited about I guess he's just excited about being involved, but I was never thinking he was going to put his ownership stakes up. But hey, you know what? It's too late. He put his ass where his mouth was. And just like that, he can probably kiss his ownership stakes goodbye.
Ooh, look, I'm shaking. See?
Yeah. So anyways, the 24th of February, it'll be JD versus Lance for the Cowlitz County Championship. And the question is, will the Messiah be rolling out of the church?
I will be, with a giant smile on my face. And before we go, I do want to say that the benefits for the show will be going for cancer research and a very special dog named Whiskey. And yes, GD, I'll definitely see you there. You guys have anything else?
No, I don't think we have anything else. Join us next week again when we put the card back together, and maybe this thing will get back on track.
Right here. That's where you're gonna try.
We apologize to some of the viewers for Mr. Nos going off the rails and almost rogue tonight. I wasn't expecting an ownership change, but he put it out there again, and sometimes he says shit and gets away with it, and sometimes he says shit and it looks like JD's actually going to put up and make Nos shut up. So
And I'll still be talking at the end of the show, Mr. JD, because you ain't doing nothing. And you said you ain't gonna apologize to nobody. The only people you'll apologize to are the two to three people that might, and I have to emphasize, might be supporting you in the crowd.
So anyways, with that being said, big money, that's a good question. There will be more belts debuted, but probably later on in the year. We are a up and coming promotion, so these 4 titles that we have now are, we're lucky enough to have these 4 titles. But tag division coming soon, women division coming soon. Before we go, quick shout out to Uncaged Cycles for being a ticket outlet, and a shout out to Gunner's Auto Supply for being a ticket outlet. Unfortunately, we do not have any sponsors to thank for this show, but thank you to all of our previous sponsors, including North American Tarpey. I'll give them a shameless plug only because there's an employee on here from there. So again, we want to thank you for your sponsorship last time, and hopefully in the near future we can partner up a deal again for you guys to sponsor us again for some of our upcoming shows. But with that being said, Messiah, I'm glad you had a great 41 years of life and a couple more weeks on this earth. It was nice knowing you, my man. It was nice knowing you and calling you a brother. But sometimes you just got to learn to shut your damn mouth and know your role.
I know my role.
And, maybe next time we'll have to bring in a bigger investor to get your 50% back, because I don't know what the hell I'm going to do now. I don't know nothing about this JD Grunge, and you already opened your goddamn mouth.
You ain't gonna have to do nothing. He ain't gonna touch me. I look too good to get this slapped. The only thing you're gonna, and this is the last thing I'm gonna say. The only thing you're gonna be running, Mr. Grunge, is out the door because you'll be so ashamed that you couldn't do what you said you were gonna do on this podcast.
Okay, with that being said, I guess there's been enough talk. I've got to stop this podcast before our storyline goes to hell. So with that being said, good night, everybody. We will be back probably next week sometimes. And hopefully we'll get things straightened out. But until then, we'll see you guys soon. Good night.